back to the information and conversation with Matt. This is your Houston Morning News.
KTRH News Time is 7:47.
If you are an able-bodied person and you are getting something for nothing, then we are pretty stupid for giving it to you.
Yeah, there's Newt Gingrich. He was in the Woodlands with Herman Cain over the weekend, and joining us right now, the folks that brought them both there, Julie Turner of the Texas Tea Party and Bill O'Sullivan. And Bill, I understand, is the treasurer. He was also there. Welcome to you both. Good to have you on Houston's Morning News.
Good morning. Thank you.
Good morning. Thanks.
All right, so I watched a lot of this on C-SPAN. That was Newt Gingrich. Let me play a little something from Herman Cain from over the weekend.
I expected to have to work hard. I expected to have to study hard. But I did not realize the fly-specking nature of the media when you are running for president, especially when you start moving up in the polls.
The fly-specking nature of the media. Well, he probably should have realized that, I would think. But Julie, let me start with you. This was two guys that really found a lot more in common with each other than they had differences.
Well, that's right. And we thought that going in, but it was so nice to see such a civil discussion on display with so many people who are interested in it. And I think it sets a new tone for presidential debates. No more will we have only the option of a soundbite boxing match, which doesn't do any good for voters or the candidates.
Bill, I got the impression that these two guys, if one of them should be the nominee, the other one would be the vice president. What did you think?
Well, there's a couple of things to that. They have a history together, going back into the 90s, when Mr. Gingrich appointed him to a commission, and they worked together rather closely on that. The second part of it, they've been friends for years, and it would be obvious banter between them, which you didn't see when we were escorting them around, and they'd run into each other as we were moving around the building. So they have that, and of course there was Mr. Cain's answer to Mr. Gingrich's quick question, which kind of wrapped up the debate, which was pretty spectacular.
Yeah, well, let's talk about that. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back and we'll talk about that question and what that question was and what the answer was. Julie Turner, Texas Tea Party, and Bill O'Sullivan with the Texas Tea Party. He's also their treasurer. We'll get back to you guys in just a second. KTRH News Time is 7:53, and we are joined this morning by Julie Turner with the Texas Tea Party, also Bill O'Sullivan, who's with the Texas Tea Party, and their treasurer. All right, who wants to talk? Are you talking about, Bill, we were talking about the final question. Cain was allowed to ask Newt Gingrich the final question. Is that what you were talking about?
Yes, sir.
And he asked him what he would want his assignment to be as vice president. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And give us the answer that Newt Gingrich gave.
Basically, he said that watching his good friend Dick Cheney, he wouldn't want to go hunting.
Would not want to go hunting, and who could blame him? Hey, Julie, let me ask you this, and this is just speculation on your part, where we see Cain and Gingrich in the Woodlands over the weekend being civil to each other. I know you set some pretty stringent guidelines when it came to the sexual harassment comments. You weren't going to go there. I applaud you for that. How can we take that mindset of sticking to the issues to, say, the race for mayor in Houston, where I've been talking about that this morning, where it seems to me that we are focused more on the mayor's sexuality, not that that isn't important and we shouldn't talk about it, but I think we have. It seems that we get so distracted by that, or we get so distracted by Herman Cain and the sexual harassment issues, and I know those are sexy things for the media to talk about. How do we get back to the real issues for Americans, like jobs?
Well, maybe the media is distracted by that, but we had many hundreds of people in that room and other people writing into blogs and commenting in other ways on the merits of that debate because it was substantive and because it was serious, and it was still fun. And it didn't have all this titillating stuff. It was not focused on gossip. I think it really is a compliment to American voters that these two were able to talk about serious issues. We know what the problems are, and we want to hear people who have actual solutions to them. And as far as the mayor's race is concerned, I think those are the same voters, whether they live in Houston, whether they live in Washington, D.C., or Chicago, or wherever people were watching this debate. People want to hear the real answers, and if the media will just stick to that, I think the people will be on their side.
So it's my fault? Is that what you're saying? It is my fault?
Nope, you're keeping the focus where it needs to be. There are other people in the media who really need to focus on facts rather than gossip.
And just one thing on this. We decided 6 months ago we were going to try to do something to yank the focus of everything onto entitlements. So we came up with this idea, and then something emerged later on which permitted us to do it. So we ended up with an hour and a half prime time on a Saturday night, even though it was C-SPAN, on entitlements between two presidential candidates.
Yeah, I tell you what, Bill, I probably have not watched C-SPAN as much as I watched it when that debate was going on. Believe me, and it will probably be a while before I get back to it. But I want to thank you both for what you do. Thank you for coming on with us, Julie Turner and Bill O'Sullivan from the Texas Tea Party. Look forward to having you guys back on as we move forward.